Welcome to the age-old phrase that could now be classed as ageism. According to an employment tribunal, asking an older work pal how things were, and I quote, back in your day, could be seen as a breach of discrimination law. The judge described it as unwanted conduct after a nursing assistant in her 60s sued for age harassment when a younger colleague allegedly suggested an operation had been free under the NHS back in your day. Joining us to discuss this is employment lawyer Jo Mackie. Always a pleasure to see you, Jo. Thank you so much. Is it a surprise to you that the judge decided that this was an inappropriate, unwanted and potentially illegal thing to say to a colleague?
I think it's quite an extreme case. Back in your day is not necessarily as offensive as some of the things, the claims I've seen. What this quite interesting though, because the woman was dismissed having PPE, going into a nursing home without having the right equipment. She refused to use. She claims, amongst other things, age discrimination, and used this phrase that was apparently used against her. But in the end, the judge found no evidence that it was ever used. What the judge said was unwanted conduct, and I think that's probably fair, but also that the way it would be used could be barbed. And that's the thing. I mean, if someone said to me back in your day, Jo, it was different then, that if they wanted to be offensive, that would probably be a little bit over the limit. But I don't think it would give me grounds to go to the employment tribunal, frankly, Vanessa.
So does that mean that people should be warned? They should take this under advisement? They shouldn't be going around telling other people back in your anything? They should not even back in the day, or not even in your day, or not even, you know, when you were young or when you were in your prime, or anything at all that might suggest that the person's any older than they are?
I think all you've got to bear in mind is that we just need to respect each other in the workplace. That's what this is all about. And usually people do get on with that quite well. And this probably falls into that awful, cloudy element of banter that people talk about, which I find so hard as an employment lawyer. Banter can be quite offensive. The bottom line in law is if you treat people differently and less favourably on grounds of their age, amongst other things, their sex, their gender, their sexual orientation, their pregnancy, their religion, then that's something that gives rise to the potential for a claim, because it's supposed to be a level playing field for all of us, and that's what the Equality Act's all about.
OK, so I have to ask you something topical, Jo. I have to ask you something topical. How is it, then, for Angela Rayner to say to the Prime Minister, you pint-sized loser? How is that? Is that OK?
Well, it's an interesting thing. I think we've been on this subject before. The MPs have managed to exclude themselves from the Equality Act. So largely they can do and say what they want within reason. And that's quite difficult. You know, people who make the laws often get themselves out of it somehow. But, you know, she's getting a lot of personal flack, and she's decided to probably give a bit of it back. And that's what we see in our adversarial House of Commons, isn't it? And it's sometimes quite entertaining on the TV, to be honest.
It certainly is, but you're not going to get that here from me, Jo. You're going to get a big kiss. Thank you. Lovely to see you. Lots of very